All right, so everyone knows we need content. We need to be
Yes.
producing content, and companies are doing it to some degree in some form. And someone will sit in a meeting. Oh, we should do a podcast. Oh, we should do videos. Oh, so and so in finance, he actually does a podcast. Or we should get him in. Or we should write a blog, right? And often you see people start these things, right? And then it kind of just falls away, right? It's interesting to look at why. Why do you think this happens why are we still talking about this? We all know we need it. We know we need to engage our audiences.
Yes.
Why aren't companies doing it? What stops people, do you think?
I think it's strategy, and I think that's where we really align all the time. We
Yeah.
always come back to that
Yeah.
strategic point of view. And look, strategy is hard, and it's hard to invest in, right?
Yeah.
But that's the thing, when content is done right and done well, it has such a longer term focus.
Yeah.
And the gains can be so huge, right?
Yeah, because there are always practical reasons, right?
Sure.
So someone will say, oh, why we didn't do it? Oh, well, the person there got moved to another department, or
Yeah.
the resources weren't there, we didn't have the money, or we had a big project on, or we had, COVID hit and we had bigger things to worry about and blah. But I think what happens is that means, to me, if you stop it, it means that the strategy wasn't ever there.
Sure.
Right? Because if the strategy was there, you'd find a way not to stop it.
Yes.
And that might mean, getting someone in part-time or consulting or whatever. You'd find a way to structure it because you'd understand that whatever's going on, you need this to be consistent. You need to have an audience engaged and maybe also people. You know what I think it is also? People get stuck on the execution. Someone says we should do a blog. Yeah, we should do a blog. And that's the idea. Let's do a blog. The step before that is, well, we need to communicate with our audience about X. What's the best way to do that? Maybe it's a blog. Maybe it's will it blend video? Maybe it's a podcast series.
Yeah.
Who knows? But if you have the strategies to start with, and then you work out the execution, then it becomes easier to justify continuing that execution, whatever else is going on.
What is the difference between a content marketing strategy and a social media strategy?
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like a Venn diagram to me. There will be some crossover.
Yeah.
You go, right, well, we need to be out there. We need to be front of mind. We need to engage people. But a social media strategy is purely saying, well, our content is going to go on social media, which again is the execution.
Amplification.
We're focused about the amplification. Whereas if you take a step back and say, well, what else could the content be, and where else could it go, and how could we make use of the limited resources we have to produce a piece of content and pull it apart and go, it's going to be on YouTube, it's going to be on Facebook, it's going to be on Instagram, it's going to be on our website, we're going to use it at trade shows, we're going to send it out to people in an email campaign, it's going to be in our digital newsletter. Then it becomes a broader strategy that is not just about social media.
I also think, to your point about why they stop these initiatives, is that it becomes a checkbox.
Yeah.
It just becomes a task.
Yes.
That people have to do.
Yeah.
And the strategy was either not there to start off with, or it gets lost.
Yeah. Gets forgotten.
It gets forgotten.
Yeah. And when someone says, you know what, I'm focused on this right now, and getting the podcast sorted is just something I've got to drop. People don't check it against the strategy to go, hang on, why were we doing it?
Yeah.
We were doing it for that. Okay, well, let's continue it because we're also doing that activity for that, and we can drop that off.
And also because social media itself is so visible.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas the content marketing, because it's more on our owned platforms a little more, on the blog, on the website, management aren't going to be like, hey, where was that content?
Yeah.
But because the social media, everyone's got an opinion.
Yeah.
Everyone
Everyone sees it.
Company, and the whole company has an opinion. That gets checkbox.
Yeah.
Right? That gets done.
And also, it's interesting, it gets checked box with an algorithmic bent.
Yes.
Right. Now, I don't think people get a lot of this. People will say to me, oh my God, I saw my own ad in my newsfeed 72 times today.
Sure.
Right. Without going, yeah, I know, but other people aren't seeing it that often. You're seeing it that often because the algorithm knows you're intently interested in your own product and subject because you're always on your own websites or looking at your competitors' websites or researching something about the product.
True.
So it can be easy to think that social media reach and impressions tells you how good a piece of content is. But the algorithm is doing things that, I mean, who even knows what? Once you think you've worked out what the algorithm's doing, it's changed. So to me, yeah, there's a bias there. And if you go back to the website or your own platforms, the other thing is there is an additional benefits of having it on your own platforms, all the SEO benefits, you know, all the engagement benefits, keeping people on your own site. I mean, people don't think about that either. If someone walks into your store and your store sells electronic goods, and they know there's an electronic goods store next door, the thing you want is to keep them in your store so they don't go next door and check it out. Websites are the same. You know, we want people to stay on our website. We don't want them to click a video and go and watch it on someone else's platform. So that content that we own, that we distribute, that we have on our other assets, not Zuckerberg's assets or Musk's assets, we've got it on our own platforms and assets. That's crucial.
And it's not a reason to not do social, right? So I say these things like, you know, you're building on rented land, which is what every content marketer will tell you, right?
Yeah.
These are just channels,
Yeah.
right? It's not a reason not to do them.
No.
It's a reason to be properly aware and strategic around how you approach them, right? So if you say, instead of saying, we're going to make short TikTok-style videos and build a following on TikTok. Stop, right? Instead of that being, don't stop there. Right? There needs to be a deeper level of thought around the medium to long term, and asking questions like, well, what happens when TikTok's not cool anymore? We've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars over years building this audience, and suddenly people are leaving. Right? What do we do then? Right.
The strategy goes one step back. Are we engaging with people on TikTok because that's our demographic and will always be our demographic? Or are we engaging with those people because we think they're the start of our demographic and they will soon grow and become our next demographic and then our next demographic? So we have to it's actually them we're trying to get. It's not TikTokers we're trying to get. It's that group of people. So we need to engage with them now on TikTok because that's where they will be engaged. And then it will be Instagram, and then it will be Facebook, and then it will be newsletters rolled up in their newspaper that gets thrown in their doorstep. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yes. I think that connects straight to that idea that I think we need to think more like social media is a TV show or a TV channel.
Yes.
Right? We get way too married to these platforms as marketers, right? And it's because they're so huge. They're so powerful, right? And we're on them all day ourselves.
Yes.
So, you know, and the metaphor I always used is, well, when Friends was the biggest show in the world, you run ads
in Friends,
right?
Yep.
When it's not, on to the next one. Right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the way we need to think more about social media platforms. They are channels to amplify and build on, not whole owned audiences that we own. And the best we still have, and the most direct, is email. We still have email. There's no third party in between us. And most of the time, a proper content marketing strategy will have that as an important part of it, of building your email list, because it's about as owned as you can get.
Yeah. And that's the other thing with a landing page is to say, right, we're going to use social media. Yes, I want them engaging on social media because then, you know, the algorithm says send them more stuff, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, I want their result or the conversion to be, if not buying a product or purchasing our service, at the very least getting to our website and landing on our website, so they're trackable by us and they're on our platforms, in our shop, on our land, to extend your metaphor. And then we've got them there because, to me, one of the things you say, the difference between social media strategy and content strategy is if I can get all these people coming from all these different other platforms and use them as a source of traffic to my website where I've now collated a landing page which has all of these things, I will get them and own them and engage them. And they know, oh, I saw that on Todd's website, not I saw that on TikTok. Sure. It's a big difference, you know. It's what you're saying. It's not I saw them over there on that rented land, which might have another tenant in it tomorrow. It's that I saw them there at their factory where they produce their stuff, you know.